So for Module 3, you're going to need to create a prototype of a website. But before we kind of jump into how do you create a prototype, I want to talk about a different kind of design that you'll also be doing for this course to help contrast like the difference between what a mockup is and what a prototype is. So the first kind of the first type of design document that I'm going to talk about is what is a mockup. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this question. A mockup is basically, it'll look like the actual site that you're going to create. So I could create a mockup using Microsoft Word. So let's say I wanted to create a mockup of the personal course website. So I've talked about this before, but so this is a little bit of review, but just to real quickly show you, I would, if I were trying to create a mockup without actually having to code the entire site, I would maybe like start by trying to recreate this top bar just with a regular old box. I know it takes up about that much maybe. I would change its color to this dark gray, right? And then I might change the actual color of the background. Oops. To match this kind of beigey color. So already, I mean, it's not going to be exact look, but I could keep going with this. I could add a text box and put some teal kind of text in it, and eventually, what it would look like is this. So this is, I'm actually cheating because this is actually just a screenshot, but so it's not just a screenshot, it's kind of like a mock-up too, but so this is useful, right? So if let's say I hadn't actually created this site yet, and I only created it in here, it would be really useful to see like, oh, this is what the site will actually look like when it's up. With a mock-up though, if I try clicking on these links, they don't work. So a prototype is basically like, it's like a mock-up. It should look like how the site looks, but it has that additional feature of you can actually click on the links and the links will take you, they'll kind of act like the actual hyperlinks by taking you to where they're supposed to go. It's similar, but it won't be as complex of interactivity as you'd have in the actual site. I'll show you what I mean by actually doing one for you. It's the easiest way to do it. I think it's just to like to show you. So I'm going to create a mock-up. I'm sorry. I'm going to create a prototype using PowerPoint. So the first thing that I'm going to do that is to go back to the site that I'm trying to replicate. And I'm going to just take a screenshot in Mac, it's Command Shift 4 of this site. And I've already done this. You can see it. I would basically go into all 4 of these sites, right? I'm sorry, all 4 pages of the site and create a screenshot for each of them. So in a sense, this is a really quick way to create like the equivalent of a mock-up. It looks like the site will actually look. Okay. So I've already done that here. I've created these 4 screenshots, 1 of each page of the website, and I've just dragged them into 4 different slides that I've created. Okay. So here we have the home page. We have slide number 2 is the syllabus, so that's the second page. So 1 slide per page. Okay. So I'm not including all these details because it's a little bit slow. So, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. Okay. So let's say that I want to change the way that some styling information um, about this actual about the tabs here. Let me show you what. Let me go back to the website first and show you what I want to change. So I like that when I hover over each of these tabs, it turns white. That shows me, oh, okay, this is what I'm looking at now, resources. When I actually click on it, though, the thing that stays white is still the home page. So when I'm on the resources page, it actually, this white text here almost seems to indicate that that's where I am in the page. I'm in the home page. So what I'd like to do is to make it so that when I click on the syllabus page, um, that this stays white and this home page goes to beige. So this is part about like this is about basically about findability, and I'm going to show you. In fact, I'll show you the model site that I want to replicate, and that's Mo's portfolio site. So let's say I go to her work page. When I'm on the work page, it has it highlights that it's on the work page by having these two vertical purple bars. And then when I go to the resume page, these two vertical bars move over and show me that I'm on the resume page. My site does not do that. I'm on the student's sites page, but I wouldn't know it by looking at this navigation bar. So that's what I wanted to recreate with this. Um, so, so how do I make these links actually work through PowerPoint? Well, you actually start by just inserting a regular old box, not a text box. You want to do an actual shape. Um, do it by inserting a shape. You know, drag and drop the box here. Chop, chop. We'll have two boxes. So I'm gonna roughly lay it over where the home button is. And then eventually I'm going to make this a transparent box because I'm basically, this box is going to represent a place to click so that it can link to another quote unquote page, in other words, another slide. Um, but for now, I'm just going to make this center, the fill, I'm going to make it transparent. Okay. And then the goal here is to try to make it so that when I click over this area where the home page is, that it will actually go to the slide that represents the home page. So let me actually change this, move it over to the syllabus. And this is being a little bit slow just because I'm doing a screen recording and doing it at the same time. Okay, so I've got the box over the syllabus. Now my goal is to get it to link. And I do that by right-clicking on the box once I have it selected. And I go to Action Settings. And then I click on Hyperlink To. And it gives you some basic options like, oh, the next slide or the last slide, etc. I wanted to go I wanted to go to a very specific slide, so I go slide ... In other words, I'm going to tell it which slide. And it pops up here and asks, okay, which slide do you want to link to? I know that the screenshot for the syllabus page is slide number 2, So I'm going to click slide number 2, click OK. Okay. Now, if I try to click on it now, it's not going to go to the syllabus page. You have to actually start the slideshow. And then notice when I hover over it now, hover over the box, that it turns into the little glove that tells me that it's going to go somewhere else. So I click on it and it goes to, notice this is slide number 2, the syllabus page. So I'm going to escape this now. And since I know that I want every syllabus button to go to that slide, I can actually just copy this and then paste it onto the other pages. So I'm doing Command C, Command V, and I have to adjust it a little bit. Okay. And so let's and then I'm going to use the Option button and drag another box for the student sites. Right. But it's going to copy the same actions, so I want to I don't want it to go to the syllabus slide. I want it to go to the student slide, so I want to go to slide number 3. So I'm going to right click and make sure that the action settings are set to slide 3. So hyperlink to, again, tell it to go to slides. It'll pop up. Go to slide number 3. Okay. So I would basically keep copying and pasting these so that each one works. So now what I'm going to have at the end of this is that, these links are they're not going to go, these are the only working links because that's the design element that I'm focusing on, is the navigation bar. The other links I'm not going to bother trying to recreate because that's not the purpose of my redesign. So this is why a prototype is different from actually recreating maybe all aspects of the website. So then how would I then go beyond that and make it so that when I click on student sites and I'm on the student sites page, that this stays white? Well, here's where you kind of got to get a little bit creative, at least if you're using PowerPoint. I'm going to stop the video here and just for the sake of publishing, sometimes it limits how long you can do. Actually, no, I think it'll be okay. But basically, what I would do to try to recreate this button is there's a lot that you can do by just taking screenshots. So I'm gonna try to zoom in a little bit more here. It's gonna be slow. It's way too big. Okay, that's perfect. That will help. Okay, so if I were trying to create it so that when I go to the syllabus page, the syllabus font stays white, I obviously can't modify the font on here. This is just a screenshot. What I can do is try to recreate this just using the tools that I have. So I'm going to take if I'm trying to recreate this button but with the font of syllabus being white, I would start by creating the background of that button. So I'm going to take a screenshot, Command-Shift-4, like this, and and then I'm going to drag that into here. Notice I keep my desktop clear of all other files than what I'm working on. Kind of like we talked about in the beginning of class, think of your desktop as kind of your, it's your, you usually want to have a clean desktop when you're working with just the things you're working on in that moment. Don't have things that should be in the bookshelf on your desktop. So I've got the background here of it, and then I'm going to add another, maybe a text box over this. So I go insert text box. Create that here. And say syllabus. Ah, chaos. Ah. And then the biggest thing with using either Word or PowerPoint is that if you double click on this, you should have the option to actually, I think with Microsoft Word it automatically makes it so that it's free floating. Sometimes you have to adjust whether it's in front of an object or not. So this is basically what I would create, and then I would group these together and drag them over. And obviously I'd want this to be smaller than the thing. I'd have to adjust the size and everything like that. I would drag it over here, and then just make sure that when I order the objects, that this button has to be in front. It has to be on the top layer. Otherwise, when you try to click on it, it won't recognize it. So that's where you're gonna you can reorder objects, or arrange, send to back, send to front. You always want to bring this one to the front. Okay. So I'm not going to go into that. I'm not going to recreate it, partly because the software is being so slow, but you get the basics of how to make the hyperlinks work and how to recreate some of these styling elements. You don't have to use PowerPoint. This is just one example. You might want to recreate it using a Wix site. What I like about using PowerPoint or something similar to PowerPoint is that it allows you to focus on like moving objects around, because you can easily recreate certain objects. And I do like that you can just kind of easily work with a screenshot that replicates what the whole site will look like with it, without having to actually recreate all of these. So think about that. Of course, you could do something similar with Wix by dragging, maybe the bottom part of a screenshot and then working with, you know, the navigation element on top of that too. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. This is one way to do it. But the main thing to keep in mind when you're doing the prototype is understanding that a prototype is interactive, and that if you're, especially if you're working with something like navigation, you should be able to actually click on it and have it go there. So that is the difference between prototyping and mockups, and one way to do